he began to teach me about his unconditional love for me. Not what I think love looks like, not feeling-based, not gift-based, not if everything's going perfect love, but his unconditional love. Then he began to teach me about godly beauty. I have a daughter. She's 9. I'm amazed at the things that she is already going through at 9. So I got down on my knees and I said, God, you're going to have to give me a revelation of what your beauty looks like, because I've got to teach my daughter. I've been there, done that. I've looked at the 17 magazines and thought, I'm not that size. I don't dress like her. So he was teaching me that. And then finally he was teaching me what his purpose was for my life. Not my purpose, but his purpose. It's 2007, where I attended a women's event conference at the Greater Little Rock campus. A lot of you guys may have went there. But at that conference, we were given a take-home gift, which was this crown necklace that I'm wearing. And you know what? I thought, that necklace is pretty. I'll wear it. But I had no idea what God was going to teach me about this necklace. So I began to wear it every day, and I began to pray for opportunities. God, if you want me to share the 3 things that you've just identified to me with others, give me that opportunity. Open that door for me. And I'm amazed that when I began to pray that, the doors that he began to open. So with every necklace I gave away, it had a message tied to it. One of God's love, one of God's hope, one of God's grace. And so I did this, and God showed me every woman out there, almost every woman out there deals with the same issues that you have struggled with for years. To know that they're loved, to know that they're beautiful, and that they have a purpose. So I just began to give these necklaces away. And you know what I did? I'd get up in the morning and I would pray. Again, back to my OCD self. I always have my days planned, organized. My kids know what's coming. I'm just that way. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. But instead of getting up and looking at my agenda, I would say, okay, God, what do you got for me today? I'm so excited. Who do you want me to call? Who do you want me to encourage? What line do you want me to check out at Walmart? Which cashier just needs my smile today? You know what? He did it every single time I prayed. And he began to direct my path. So after doing this for 3 years, it became very obvious to me and my husband that God was creating a fun and creative way for me to share God's love. But then again, here came that ugly insecurity of rejection that popped up in my life that said, Judy, you're not a pastor's wife. You're not an evangelist or a missionary. You're not even the women's ministry director at New Life Church. Who are you to think that you could have a ministry? And you know what? Just as soon as Satan spoke those words and those lies to me, God was right there to say, you are. I have chosen you. You are my daughter. You can do anything through Christ. You can do it. So I was like, okay, I'm qualified, God. If you say I'm qualified. So it was easy. Use a necklace as a tool to share the love of God, right? So I began to just share him. And I had a friend. She emailed me and she said, Judy, this necklace must be anointed by God. I have worn necklaces all my life, and I have never gotten the amount of compliments that I get on this one. And it's so cool for God to open that door for me just to give somebody a necklace and say, you know what? God loves you. No matter what you're going through, God will never leave you or forsake you. Let me tell you one of my favorite stories. I'm going to lunch, I thought, with my husband. I show up at Las Palomas, which was one of our favorite places to eat. I sit down in my booth. I order my drink. I get my bowl of cheese dip, get my chips. Bling! My cell phone goes off. Sorry, babe. It's just not going to work out for me to come today. And are you kidding me? I'm sitting here by myself. What are these people going to think? She's a loser. Does she not have any friends that could join her for lunch? And I thought, nope, I'm going to sit right here. And do you know that as I sat there and purposed in my mind that I was going to make the best of this lunch by myself, I began to overhear the conversation in the booth behind me. I'm not an eavesdropper. So don't, if you see me at a restaurant, don't say, could you sit us over there, please? Because this lady, she'd be all up in my business. I promise, I'm not an eavesdropper. But I'm sitting there and I'm hearing this lady. And she begins to pour out her heart to her two friends that are sitting across the table from her about the trouble that she has had getting pregnant. Her husband was in the military, so he would come in. They would try to make things work. She'd find out after he'd went back that she wasn't pregnant. And let me tell you something. I've been there. I struggled with infertility for 2.5 years before we were blessed with our first child. So my ears were on fire for this lady. And I almost got mad at her friends because here she was pouring out her heart. And they're over there talking about, oh, did you hear what little Johnny said to me last week? And oh my goodness, let me tell you this story. And I'm like, hello, your friend is hurting. She doesn't want to hear stories about your kids. So, you know, being the introvert that I am, I stand up. I got to go to the bathroom. And I just stopped at that booth and I just put my hand on the table and I said, I promise I wasn't listening in on your conversation, but I just happened to overhear that one of you is having difficulties. Which one of you guys are trying to get pregnant? And one of the girls, she was like, me. And I was like, okay, can I sit down with you guys? And they were like, yeah, we thought about inviting you because you're sitting all by yourself anyway. I was like, why didn't you? But anyway, so I sit down and I just began to share my story, my issue with this girl. I began to comfort her with the words that God gave me when I was going through infertility issues. And by the end of that conversation, I had taken my necklace off and I said, I want you to have something. I want you to remember that you are a daughter of the King and that God is holding every tear that you have cried in the palm of His hand, and that when it is His timing and if it is His perfect will for you, you will have a baby. Y'all, she's blubbering all over the place. I'm blubbering all over the place. But how many of y'all know that was a cool moment? That was a cool moment for me to be used by God, because I think that we are all looking for ways to shine our light before others so that people will be drawn to the giver of light.